On my way back to Ohio from the Meadows, oh my God, what a horrible day. As Addie would say, it was an disgusting day. There was mud everywhere. My eyes literally feel like they're going to fall right out of my head. I brought Visine with me. Imagine what my eyes would look like right now if I hadn't dosed them with Visine as soon as I come off the track. Oh my goodness. Anyway, a miserably horrible day today. It could only have been worse. It was like sleet and snow and +2 or like 34, 35. That would have been the worst weather. Sleet and rain and snow mixed together at that temperature. That is the worst racing on planet Earth. Bar none. And today was just hovering above that. So I got there today, a lot on my plate. Here coming a pickpocket into the 8-hole coming off a break. I thought he was in a little softer than he was when I mentioned in a video last night, he was our best shot. I get there and I'm like, oh my God, these are pretty good horses that are in here. It's a deep crew. I was a little bit surprised, but obviously I didn't have the program page to look at, but he was in a little snug. I got away in the 3-hole, got away in a great spot. Now, I did have to snug his hobbles up a little bit. I didn't want to make it a break. I knew there was a pretty good chance when I looked left coming off the car, there was going to be some vacancies, and I'd want one of them. And if it happened to be the one at the front, that would be okay too, given the rain and the mud. As it turned out, I dropped him into the 3-hole nicely, and you could feel the hobbles were digging into him a little bit. It's not the first time he's raced with tight hobbles on, so not his first rodeo, as they say. But they were a little snug. Did that take a little bit off of the top? Did, leaving out of the 8-hole, did the mud? Who knows? But the mile was a decent mile. 55 and a piece, 28 and a piece on the end of it. Can't ask for much more on a track like that from a 3-year-old. I thought the horse raced rather well to be third. Then ready for landing. Went with their boy Ready for Landing. And if you're horsemen, and especially if your driver's out there and you hear a horse walking at the Meadows, we were in the back end of the paddock, so you got to walk up the concrete paddock all the way out onto the track, onto the pavement, onto the track. You can hear everything, and you know what the sound of a loose shoe sounds like. We get halfway down the paddock, and I said, hey, that horse got a loose shoe left hind, I think. We stopped him outside. Sure enough, it was loose. Just sprung a little bit. Ran him over walked him in, took the bike off, walked him over to the blacksmith shop, and he put the shoe, tightened the shoe up. Only need a couple of nails, I think. It took max 4 minutes. But that's 4 minutes of the post parade. They're going to the gate. So now I have enough time to go out, turn right, and go directly to the gate. Did that cause a problem? He seemed chill for him. He didn't seem temperamental at all. Now the mud, I don't think he was a fan of the mud, which I can't blame him. Didn't really go up into position the way I and again, when it comes to Ready for Landing, I don't want him getting in a habit. You can't leave with him every week. If you get him in a habit of blasting out of there, he's going to quickly become uncontrollable again. So when I start to come up in a position, if he's not feeling it, I'm okay with that. I just let him fall off the gate into position. Now, one thing I will say about Ready for Landing today, you remember his first start back with no hobbles on. He made that wild break halfway to the first turn, and I couldn't really tell you why. For no particular reason, I assumed he touched himself. He touches his elbow, so I assume maybe he just reached up, touched his elbow, and kind of stung himself, and that's where that wild gallop came in. Well, today, if you watch closely, going into the first turn, one stride, he puts that step in. As I'm just trying to settle him on the outside 6 to drop him down to the rail, when the inside kind of trots away from me, I don't want to back him up into the hole. I just want to let the hole kind of appear and then just fall into it. Well, as I'm settling him 6th on the outside, he does put one of those steps in. But he caught himself, just like that. Come up trotting and settled in 6th. I guess I could have stayed 6th along the rail. I just saw the horse in the 2-hole struggling a bit. I knew that Chris Lems's horse was bet down, and if I could get to a position where I was 4th on the outside, I was quickly going to become 2nd over. Now, it never dawned on me as all this was going through my head that he wasn't good enough to be 2nd. I thought we were going to fall into a nice 2nd over trip, the last 3/8 of the mile, quarter of a mile, and it was all going to work out well. It just didn't go that way. He ended up 2nd over, but he couldn't catch cover. Was he a little short? Was he a little flat? Maybe a little sick? I don't know. He wasn't himself, but did his work. I can tell you, he tried as hard as he could. You can tell. And did all the work he could. So I had no ill will towards Ready for Landing today. I thought he did all he could, which was not near as good as we all would have hoped, but it was always next week. Now, I got to watch our two Pacers go in Dayton. I'm a little embarrassed to say I didn't know they were in together. I don't think. If I did, it didn't register today until they were pulling up the replay. We were about to go on the track with Captain Incredible. We'll get to him in a second. And I asked him to pull up the replay of the first race. Patrick had the outside. You knew that Kane was going to duck him. And Greatest Ending had the rail. I was just hoping he'd get away well and raced well. He got away well. It wasn't the most appealing endeavor I've ever seen him at. No, it wasn't his best race, but when you look at the math of the mile, 52 and 3, last quarter 29, last half 57. For a horse his size just coming back, I want to, in my head, make excuses for him. It's not lost on me that he is not the horse we bought him to be. But doesn't mean he can't be a good horse for us, and it certainly doesn't mean he can't dig his way out of that hole, that's for sure. The hole being the financial crater he left at the stable. But there's nothing saying he can't dig his way out of there. Now, as you look at the line, you're like, that's not too bad. I haven't heard from Stacy or Brett, so I don't know what their thoughts were on Greatest Ending. Looked a little flat to me, but again, could just be a horse racing into shape, and in which case it just need a few more starts. If they drew his blood and his blood come back good off that mile, I wouldn't be upset. I'm always skeptical with this guy when it comes to flat lines from him about his blood blowing up. He's got 3 issues. He ties up bad. Once in a while he'll show a little blood and his liver jumps. If any of those afflictions are at work in any given day, he is horrible. And they're difficult to fix. So hopefully it's just him racing his way into shape. And if so be it. It wasn't a horrible mile. Now Patrick, it looked like he actually ran over Greatest Ending's wheel halfway down the lane. I couldn't tell with the view. My eyes were burning into my head anyway. When I'm looking at the video, I'm looking at it quick. Whoop, look out. It looked like he might have touched the wheel. I can assure you it is not Patrick's first wheel touching instant, if that's indeed what happened. So I thought Patrick finished up well, and although he was 6th, it looked very fresh going onto the wire. So a big thank you to Kane taking care of him on the 9-hole today. Hopefully we draw good next week, and he'll give him the rattle next week. He's starting to, you can see when he finishes up like that, you can tell when he's a little flat, he'll make a face like a racehorse down the lane, but to me it looked like he was looking to advance the whole way to the wire. He's in the right frame of mind, and I'd like to see him race good next week also. And then one of the more impressive miles I've seen in quite a while, not because it was flashy or powerful or there's big numbers attached to it, just by the way the horse did it, was Captain Incredible. And I'm not saying that because, he's highly thought after. I'm going to start this portion of my video, this statement, by saying something that I don't think will be surprising to anybody, but may be a little disappointing to some people. I'm not taking him to the Meadowlands. I'm going to turn him out. I'm going to tell you why. That horse there is way smarter than he should be. Very intelligent, very, very fast horse. I had no idea what would take place tonight from the 8-hole. Do I take him back to 8th or 9th? Do I risk letting him rattle into the first turn and make a break? Because he could. And that making a break, if you watch the trajectory of his feet and his knees, he does brush up on his knees once in a while. But as he broadens out in his shoulders as an older sophomore horse, he won't do that anymore. He's only touching his knees by a hair. And that hair is just maturity. Now, if I thought for a second Captain Incredible was sharp enough, sound enough, strong enough, and fast enough to win the Governor's Cup, he would be going there right now. The problem I have is the second part, the sound enough. I don't know if he'd stay sound at high speeds right now. But I can tell you one thing, with absolute certainty, as sure as I'm driving down this road in this car, that is a good horse. He wants to... It's hard to explain what he did today. to get away fourth, and then in the first turn he was a little unsure of himself. He didn't get anxious and make a break. He just slowed down. I just let him get his feet under him in the first turn. Horses are getting away from him a little bit. He wasn't getting anxious, wasn't getting concerned. And as we come out of the turn, I tapped him on the tail. He caught right back up. Second quarter was 30 seconds, not 28. A big difference to him. He had a lot more confidence in the second turn. And I didn't have to move him. But I do have the voices sometimes. I didn't want to put him in a position to attack down the lane. I figured the horse on the front, Captain Incredible I figured the race would go exactly what it would. I would blow right past Aaron, getting into the last turn, let Captain Incredible set himself up. And all this was predicated on the way he handled the first turn and how smart he was with it. I moved him. I was by him in a blink of an eye. I just set him 1.5 wide, just put the bit in his mouth getting into the last turn, and he just did exactly what he did in the first one. Just slow down a bit. You could hear horses coming, and I could feel him. You could feel his ears moving a little bit. You could feel him grabbing up on the bit. I just didn't want him to overpace himself. I just left him alone. So we come out of the last turn. He hit a different gear, and then down by the wire was maybe, quite frankly, aside from maybe halfway down the backstretch, his fastest strides of the entire race was going through the wire. 56-3, and you have no idea. Zoom in the winner's circle if you want to know how disgusting the track was today. There was mud everywhere. My eyes were sore. My nose was full of mud. I was saturated, freezing cold. That horse raced amazingly. Now he's supposed to. There's going to be lots of people out there saying, yeah, well, Anthony, when you spend that much on a horse, guess what? They're supposed to look that way. It doesn't always work that way. And I know it's hard for some of our novice clients to understand this, but there is no way to know. If you want, any day you feel like being astonished, just go back and pull up all the race programs from Kentucky this summer. See how much people paid for those horses. See how much they were racing for. See how they were racing. See how they did. You know the old adage, the horses don't know how much you paid for them? I'll add to that. Not only do they not know, they don't care how much you paid for them. They're either good horses or they're not. Sometimes it's really nice, I've said it a million times, just to have the old meat and potatoes horses, right? An irresistible son. And once in a while you get that overachiever like Tactical Mounds. Pickpocket. It's a good horse for us. Memory and Imagination. Arson. These were all horses that never reached to 6 figures. Arson was the only one even close. And sure, the better confirmation, the deeper pedigree you get, the more you have to pay. Captain Incredible's sister sold in Harrisburg for like $17,000, and I was so tempted to buy her. Because if Captain Incredible goes out and I'm right, and he's a real good 3-year-old, she's probably worth a lot of money. So, I will leave you with this. You can take it for what it's worth. There's going to be people disappointed because he didn't get to go race for stake money or because we put him away in the summer. I'm always going to do my best to do right by the horse. The horse that I just raced, I would bet very good money is going to be a very, very good horse. 1, because he is extremely talented. 2, he's got a deep pedigree. 3, he's as fast as a car. 4, most importantly, not only does he understand racing, he wants to win. And he wants to beat the horses. That last turn must have zapped his energy a little bit. It had to have. Backing up, slowing down in the third quarter of the race, and then when they come out of the turn, pace away again and win in 56 in the mud. And when I tell you that track was 2 or 3 seconds off, it was 2 or 3 seconds off. Good horse. We're lucky to have him, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun with him in 2025, but I think that is it for 2024. Soft year of racing. He went out with a bang, but we protected him. We put him away sharp, happy, sound, ready to mature and become the horse we want him to become. Now we all know the caveat. That doesn't mean what I think. Nothing matters. What I say means nothing. it'll all be up to him. But I can tell you, we definitely are off on the right foot after what I saw today. So we still got some horses racing tonight. Save America at 6:40, so in about an hour and a half for me, an hour and 10 minutes. Admiral Dio is going to race tonight. You guys know, you heard what I said about him. They go to enter him and he doesn't get in next week. That'll be his last start in Canada. I can assure you of that right now. And Rock Shining Star at 8:20, another horse, kind of 7 to 1, 7 to 8 to 1, something like that. Drew the 10-hole trailing post. I have no idea what Kane is going to do with him, but he's been doing good with our horses. So I wish all my partners, all of you, good luck tonight. I wish him good luck. Jason, Lauren. I am done for the evening, in every sense of the word. So, take care. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Tomorrow we do have Yo Mister marching forth. 3-point Blue Chip, Tenacious Hanover, Spitfire Overseas, Tech Song, Soprano. Pretty good Friday. Lots of horses under the hood there. Sunday we got I'm Fancy Like, Purple People Eater, and then all gas, no brakes, and looks like money on Monday. So, lots of racing coming up, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care. See you tomorrow.